What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? So, I decided to make this video right before the new Battle Royale shadow drops, even though ideally we all know when it's gonna happen, right? Battlefield 6's Battle Royale RedSec, from my understanding, is the going name right now that's working for it. So, before it drops, and I'm sure a lot of people have the opportunity to pre-install the update if you're on PlayStation 5. So I'm going to do something I normally wouldn't do. You might be seeing the Warzone gameplay, and I'll let it be and let it just ride through as I'm talking it through. And because I'm currently editing a video as I'm talking to you guys. So I hope everyone's having a good evening. Again, happy Monday, and we can await Tuesday. But since a lot of people are preloading, awaiting for the Battle Royale, I will say this. If I'm going to give a critique for the new Battlefield 6, Battle Royale, RedSec, or whatever it's called, I will say this. There are a lot of similarities to Warzone, as, of course, many Battle Royales. If you have played Apex, Jump Leader, and stuff like that, of course, squad-based, team-based, it all works out. From my experience when I had an opportunity to play, and it was for a very, very, very short while, it was, again, for me, I'm not a hardcore Battle Royale kind of player. I will say that it's not the whole map of California, though it would be nice if it was. It would be nice if we got the whole scope of the map, but we don't. So this is not, I'm not only addressing necessarily my critiques about the game, the new Battle Royale, but I'm also critiquing what I experienced, I'm also addressing the viewers themselves, you guys. So I don't get the vibes of California. I will say that. It doesn't feel like California, so to speak. And mind you, I'm from California, so to me, it doesn't feel like it. If anything, I immediately associated it with the aesthetic of, I don't know if you guys have ever played Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint in the islands of Aurora. That's what it felt like I was playing, but somewhat modern day. So as you know, as you're watching the gameplay, I mean, obviously, to my knowledge, that I came across, there was no stadium per se, but of course, loot boxes, of course, different types of armor plates, different levels, rarities, if you will. That may be returning from my experience in Battlefield Labs. That was my experience. There are very close similarities to Warzone and the Battle Royale alpha that I played. And I'm hoping, EA, this is a critique to you, Battlefield Studios, this is, guys, your devs, this is a critique to you guys. Set yourself apart, please, 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 set yourself apart from Call of Duty, for once. I understand that you want to chase that dragon, but there is nothing to be gained if you are doing what Activision Microsoft already did and somewhat have upset the fans. If you follow suit, it may upset a lot of casuals or just outsiders looking in. I will say, for those who enjoy Warzone, specifically the popular streamers, you guys will also enjoy the Battle Royale. If it stays very close, one for one, from what I played to what will be getting on the 28th, if we get it on the 28th. And that does not bode well for casuals like myself. That doesn't bode well for onlookers, right? If anything, it cements the fact that Battlefield 6 is designed for Call of Duty players because they have nothing left. Mind you, if you guys have played the past Firestorm, the Battle Royale in Battlefield 5, it's modernized. It's very modernized. So if you've played that Firestorm, imagine that on that scale. Well, probably scaled down, so to speak, because you got access to the whole map when you dropped in, right? In this case, in the alpha, we did not. So we only got a section of California, but California is not all of California. It's like, it looks like California, quote, air quotes, but it's not. If you've played other battle royales like PUBG, if you've played Blackout, if you have played Warzone, if you have played Fortnite, if you have played, at the end of the day, at face value, you have already played it. Now, the landscape, the geometry, the geography of the map is a little different. It's very California-like. Is the best way I can say it. Palm trees, a little bit of destruction. If you've ever watched the movie 2012, there's aesthetics of that as well. The movie 2012, right? It looks very sanitized, if that makes sense. There is a lot of combat as far as tanks, helicopters, and I believe there will be jets. There are probably more vehicles on the Battle Royale map than there are at any given time on a Conquest map. And that's saying something. And I will address this to EA and the devs at Battlefield Studios. Why are you guys going to release a Battle Royale when you have not fixed the issues that are present right now in your base game? Don't make the mistake that Call of Duty made in the past. See, the funny thing is that I think we tend to forget the original Warzone. We had vehicles, a plethora of vehicles. We had tanks. People complained. What I do not understand, and I'm addressing the community at large, why is it that when we had ground war in Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2019, we had tanks and stuff like that, and people said, "Oh, this feels like Battlefield. Oh, there's squad spawning. Oh, this feels like Battlefield." Well, here we are with the new Battle Royale, and then the past Battle Royale, right, with Firestorm, right, and no one's batting an eye. We had tanks even in multiplayer in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. It was one of the kill streaks. Yet here we are, and again, do not get blinded by a beautiful aesthetics. If you have a very good PC and a really good graphics card, you will be blown away. I believe you will be blown away, so long as you don't think about the fact that it's all in the cloud, right? It's online only. It looks aesthetically pleasing. It truly does. But if you can look past the shiny new toy, right? When you download and finally hop in and play the Battle Royale, Firestorm, right, and Battlefield 6, if you can take a moment and step back at its bare minimum, from my experience, it's got contracts. There's no necessarily class play. I had to build my recon class. Like, for example, I found a T-Tug. I found a motion sensor. I found myself a sniper. I couldn't necessarily build my own loadout or build my own gun as you would in the back in the day Blackout, right? That would find my attachments. No, I had to find a sniper, right? I had to find a motion sensor. I had to find, scavenge, obviously look for a T-Tug, right? And there I had, and I've had because I'm actually watching my gameplay from Battlefield Labs on the Battle Royale as I'm talking to you guys and recording this. So I had a T-Tug, I had a motion sensor, I had a squad beacon. So yes, there is a way to redeploy, and that's through a beacon, but it's a squad. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 times. There is buybacks, though you have to kind of wait your turn, so to speak. Air quotes again, you have to wait your turn. From what I'm looking at and what I'm observing, there's a lot of comms. So, for example, when you start a contract, there's directions that tell you where to go, what to do, what to expect. There's a lot of comms that is essentially a part of the game, at least from what I experienced. We did a lot of loadout drops and weapon drops and cash. I don't know really what we were doing, but it was a lot of that within my gameplay. And I'll just describe what I'm looking at. We had 1 recon, we had 2 supports, and 1 medic, our assault class. So we didn't really have an engineer, but of course, it's only a squad of 4. It was a 4-man team, just as you would in Warzone or otherwise, right? So there was situations where there's vehicles all around, but they're spread out, and we only played 1 sector. The fire, the ring of fire, essentially the firewall, stay away from it. I died once to it, and I barely touched it. So Yeah, it's hot, it's spicy. So, but otherwise, there's rarities for guns as well. Obviously, legendary, blah blah blah, loot and stuff like that. But I will say, as I was playing, and you drop in with a pistol too. Like you have to obviously scavenge. But what I'm a little bit concerned about is that everyone's gonna hype it up, right? All the streamers are gonna play it, right? But my concern is, and this goes for studios, the DICE, everybody, with season 1, right? With the skins that were leaked that we see, or that were actually officially announced that we see, and then we have the Battle Royale. I think it was a mistake to start the season 1 with the new skins and Battle Pass and all of that as simultaneously as you release or launch the Battle Royale. Because it will ruin the initial honeymoon period of the Battle Royale. Because what I played was very grounded. What I played was very militaristic. What I felt like I was playing was I was a squad of 4. We had a mission to do. We had to exfil and survive the destruction of California, essentially. And everyone was military as it was all grounded. The problem is at the moment that store opens up for people's wallets in season 1, it's going to potentially ruin that appeal. And I think it was a mistake. It would be a mistake or a missed opportunity to, I hate to say it, capitalize on the military grounded aesthetic before you drop the new skins and stuff like that. Allow people to play the Battle Royale while we still have a militaristic feel in Battlefield 6 in the base game. I think it would be a good move for EA and the streamers and the casuals. And then gradually add those skins. Give it a week. Maybe, you know what? Give it 2 weeks, right? And then at that point, right, drop season 1. I think that would be a good move. Because right now, if we all remember when Battlefield 6 launched, right, we lost players. We went from a peak of 740,000, 760,000 to a measly, at least on Steam, about roughly 300,000 plus players actively. So if they left because of performance issues, optimization issues, stability issues, glitches and stuff like that, right? Then continue to focus on fixing the base game. Drop the Battle Royale. Prevent people from getting those ridiculous skins, and then once you fix the challenge tracking and all these things that are necessary first, then drop the Battle Royale, because if the same thing is not fixed, right, in the base game for challenge tracking, people falling through their maps, optimization, net coding, and all these other issues that we've come across, like the scope turning from a red dot sight to a thermal randomly, especially on PC, then address those issues and show the community, the streamers, the fans, the normies, that you are focused on fixing what needs to be done before going to the next step. We played it, we are reporting issues, so please fix it. And then once you do that, go on to the next one, which is Battle Royale. Let people play it, let essentially people play test it and find issues, then fix it before dropping more content, because this is the problem and the mistake that Call of Duty, Microsoft, Activision made. They kept pushing out content, but they slowly and surely, I'm guessing they couldn't keep up with the issues. They had no problem giving out ridiculous skin. They had no problem dropping all these events, but the problem is it's bloat. It's a lot of bloat. So the more stuff you're dishing out, I don't think the devs can keep up with the issues and fix those issues as quickly as they're dishing out content. It's the same thing now. Please, EA, DICE, Battlefield Studios, do not make the same mistake. Okay? I understand you may have lost a lot of your good developers to Embark Studios, and they're going out of their way to make Arc Raiders, but hear me out. If we have new blood, right? New blood, new devs who this is their first game that they're developing on, or there's some veterans in the studio who are working on it. Don't jump the gun. please do not jump the gun. It's probably I made this video probably a little too late. They probably are dead set. They probably have no control, right? And there's no stopping it. So if you guys are gonna shadow drop it, I appreciate the opportunity that we have to play, but we're coming to a point where my computer just crashed. Anywho, we're coming to a point where yes, we acknowledge that there's some issues, but they're not ultimately game breaking as far as the Battlefield 6 game is. What I will say is that ultimately, instead of constantly be a competition between Battlefield and Call of Duty, why not learn from each other's mistakes? I mean, guys, you guys are devs. You guys get paid generously. Some of you guys are based in California. I mean, I envy you guys with the gloriousness of California and all that. But at the same time, if you guys are getting paid, $20-$30 an hour, that's a drop. That's a drop in the bucket at that point. When you pay your rent, you can kiss your paycheck goodbye. It's as if you worked only to at least have a home to go back to and not even enjoy, right? The joy of California. I mean, you're living there because either you don't have a choice, but you don't have an opportunity, or they're not allowing you to move at that point. It's ridiculous, but I digress. Set yourself apart, be unique, EA, Battlefield Studios, because I don't believe that, and it's a double-edged sword, because if there's familiarity with the new Battle Royale for Battlefield 6, this means that people who were playing Warzone, right, will be able to easily transition over to the new Battle Royale. Maybe. Because in my experience, there's no tax for it. So, and the funny thing is, the maneuverability, the movement, the agility, the, everything about Warzone, right? I could go from one map to the other, one side of the map to the other, right? But the problem that I ran into is that it's not really the same with the new Battle Royale for Battlefield 6, right? And I'm hoping that we can learn something from it. So I'm trying to think of how to go about this. This is technically a way to give feedback to the devs. This is a way to give a little bit of feedback about my opinion about the Battle Royale, at least from the perspective of the alpha from what I played. And just like you guys, I'll be able to play the new Battle Royale when you guys are able to. So I'm ecstatic to try it out. But mind you, again, I'm not a hardcore player, and I know that the the popular streamers will make a killing, right? But I'm curious. We have technically 2 Battle Royales that are essentially competing. Well, a couple of them, actually. We have the first Firestorm, right? We have Fortnite. We have the current Warzone, and then we'll have the next new version of Warzone again, right? So, and then of course the new RedSec Battle Royale. So I'm curious to see what's going to wind up happening, or how the publishers, the developers, the gamers are going to spend their time. Because on one hand, you have this new Battle Royale asking for your time. They want your time. They want your money. They would like you to hand over your wallet if you could. However, when Battlefield or Black Ops 7 drops, it's going to be the same case. We'll have new POIs, right, in the new Battle Royale, but we also know Avalon's coming, so there's going to be a plethora of content. And then, mind you, GTA 6, guys. I mean, I know it's next year, but next year is coming. It's coming. We're already about to get to November, guys. We're almost there. Or it's almost Thanksgiving. It's almost Christmas. So, knowing that, I think, and this is just my assumption here, the new Battle Royale that we will get, or that may or may not be shadow dropped, will be very close or on the nose to Warzone. At least this version of Warzone. And I think right now, a lot of people will be in the honeymoon phase because it's something new. It's a new toy. Yay! It looks very beautiful, especially if you're on a good rig. Yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna look phenomenal. From what I played, oh yeah. But other than that, I don't know. You know what? I think you know what may be a missed opportunity for Embark Studios is that Arc Raiders doesn't have a Battle Royale. Maybe. And I only say this because There is no game where we had an extraction, a battle royale, a PvP, a PvE, a single player experience, a multiplayer experience, all in one. In the co-op experience, all in one. And what I mean by this is, how can you accomplish all of that in one single experience? And I'll say this, and I think this can set apart, and I don't know what studio is ever going to do it, but here's what I'm thinking. If you squad up solo, you can squad up as, and this is just an idea that I had, you can squad up narrative-based, in a narrative-based combat. And what I mean by this is, it's going to be like a battle royale, but it's going to be, your missions may be catered, your operations, it's going to be catered to a specific aspect of the game. So we know the story of Modern Warfare 2019, right? Let's just take that as the beginning part. So therefore, if you squad up solo, you can squad up solo narrative, solo DMZ, solo PvE, solo PvP, PvE PvE, right? Or solo battle royale, solo survivor, meaning in your own catered experience, there will be other live players on the map, but their experience is going to be different. You'll have people doing missions and stuff like that that carries on the narrative and the storytelling of the main campaign, right? There will be other players who technically it's going to, they'll have cutscenes every now and then in the middle of the game. So not ads like EA you've done before, but something along the lines where it's a catered experience. It's a catered experience depending on your selection. So in other words, it's about 5 different games in one singular experience, all based around a battle royale. And how, for example, this Warzone match is about 20 minutes, give or take. Imagine a battle royale being about almost 2 hours. Specifically for the DMZ players, specifically for the co-op narrative players, specifically for the solo players. Hey, player killers too, PKers, man. There will always be activity based on how they play, and the server is randomized because of it. And I don't mean SBMM or EOMM, it's just an idea, because you'll never know what type of players and what they selected in their catered experience. So it's going to be based around storytelling, very narrative like, or it's going to be cooperative, meaning that you'll have a squad of 2, right? So cooperative, so you'll be in a singular experience, right? But you'll be around other live players, and they'll have a campaign-like experience, as we've seen. And I want to say, as a good example, Black Ops 7, for example, right? That's what it would be like. Or, for example, like Battlefield 3. So imagine that campaign, but for example, when in Battlefield 3, if you played it, where they're in a squad or a platoon or whatever, and they're on the roof and they have to kill the sniper and use an RPG to kill the dude across the way because they're getting suppressed fired, right? So imagine that being, instead of being just NPC, it was a live player, and it was part of your contract, and that furthers the narration, the storytelling of your experience. Imagine that. So how like you have a most wanted contract in Warzone. Imagine that being part of the narrative of your campaign experience. It's just like a blip. It's a part of it. It's an engagement. It's a moment, right? I don't know how it will be implemented, but I'm picturing it, and it looks brilliant, but I don't know how to necessarily you would put pen to paper like that, or at least develop that. So I think I've talked your ear off enough, don't you think? So I already know that the Battle Royale may drop, keyword may drop tonight or tomorrow morning or whatever. But I have a treat for y'all, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but hey man, if you don't see me anymore, you'll probably know why. But I will say, I really hope that, the Battle Royale sets itself apart from what we've already seen in Warzone. And maybe it's for the best, because my latency was going all over the place. And it, mind you, this is casual Warzone casual. So there's a possibility that there might not be a whole lot of players playing in it. And maybe it's for the better. Because let's be real, guys, Black Ops 7 is apparently, quote unquote, the last Call of Duty we will have. So there is a possibility we may not see another Warzone. at least full on another Warzone. And we may be going back to the roots because come 2028, 2027, 2028, we'll have a DMZ, we'll have a new DMZ by Infinity Ward, we'll have a new Warzone maybe, I don't know. But I think at this point we have a influx of just too many battle royales. And we may run into a situation where we will have too many extraction game modes. I mean, we have Hazard Zone, right? That's an extract. We have Escape from Tarkov, Escape from Duckov. We have DMZ. We have Arc Raiders. We have so many other things. We have The Division. There's so many, and not PUBG is not an extraction, but there's a lot of extraction games out there at this point in time. And just like battle royales, there's this heavy influx of battle royales, just as there's going to be a heavy influx of extraction shooters. And I think right now would be a good idea is if EA, you a little bit on the nose, continue to support your new battle royale, but make sure it's ever evolving. Call of Duty also needs to take the same advice. Maybe their next choice in how they're going to move forward is focus more on DMZ and explain their story that way. You know, and go back to what they do best. Very good cinematic storytelling, multiplayer experience, maybe zombies, maybe survival, spec ops here and there, and go from there. And just leave it at that. The product will sell itself so long as you continue to support it and produce better and more engaging ideas, right? If you do what we've already seen before, not many people will stay, as we have seen with the current Battlefield 6 numbers, at least on Steam. You went from 740,000 right back down to 300 and something odd thousand. You lost a good chunk of your players. Could some of them have been cheaters? Yes. Could they have been casuals who just didn't enjoy it? Yes. Could some of them have been fans of the franchise and realized that maybe your choice in map design is not replicated or does not match what they're used to as found in Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3? Maybe. So, a game made for everybody at the end of the day is a game made for nobody. So, consider your fan base, and if you put love and attention to what you are good at, people will come. Not everybody, but people will support it, so long as you're doing it with the utmost care. And I'll leave it at that. So remember always, ladies and gentlemen, peace be with you. This is Yagan Mills, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.